What if I told you there's a place in America where people vanish silently, mysteriously, and without a trace? No blood, no signs of a struggle, no body, just a cold trail and an endless list of missing names. I'm talking about the vast and beautiful, but possibly deadly U.S. national park study each year. Hundreds of people disappear in these parks. Many are never found. It's not just hikers getting lost. It's not just wild animals or bad weather. There's something else, something that no one can explain. And what's worse, the government won't talk about it. This is the story of America's most chilling mystery, the national park. Disappearances, the United States, has over 85 million acres of national park land. From the forests of Oregon to the canyons of Utah, millions of people visit each year, and yet some never return. Officially, more than 600,000 people go missing every year in the U.S. That's one person every 90 seconds. But how many go missing inside national parks? No one knows why. Because the National Park Service doesn't keep a public database of missing persons. In fact, when researchers requested this data under the Freedom of Information Act, they were told to pay over $1.4 million just to access the files. Let that sink in. An agency funded by taxpayers refuses to share how many people have gone missing on public land. Unless you pay a fortune. Why so secretive? What are they hiding? And why are certain patterns appearing across different parks? One of the most haunting stories is that of Jared Atadero. In 1999, Jared was just 3 years old when he went on a hike in the Colorado wilderness with his sister and a group of adults. He wandered just a few feet. Ahead, nothing unusual, and then he was gone. Search parties, helicopters, dogs, the entire community looked for him for months. Nothing, until 3 years later. A few pieces of Jared's clothing were discovered neatly folded, untouched by animals or weather. His shoes were in pristine condition, as if they'd been placed there recently, but Jared had been gone for over 1,000 days. Experts say no wild animal could have taken him and left the shoes untouched. Some suggest he was taken by something. Others say he was placed back after death, by some year, something. Unknown, Father's Day weekend, 1969. 6-year-old Dennis Martin was camping with his family in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. He was playing hide-and-seek with other kids, just steps away from the adults. Then, silence. Dennis was gone. Rescue teams launched one of the largest searches in U.S. history. Over 1,400 people combed the woods. They found nothing. No torn clothes, no blood, no signs of a bear or kidnapping. But one man hiking in a remote area 6 miles away reported something strange. He heard a scream, then saw a figure carrying something on its shoulder, disappearing into the trees. Was it an animal? A person? Something else? The FBI was involved. The Green Berets were called in. But then everything went quiet. To this day, Dennis Martin's body has never been found. Let's pause and look at the similarities in these cases. Across hundreds of disappearances, these patterns emerge. Victims vanish near boulder fields, water sources, or dense forests. The weather suddenly changes after a disappearance. Dogs often lose the scent quickly, as if the person vanished into thin air. Children are found miles away, sometimes in places they couldn't possibly reach. Along clothing is found neatly folded or unusually clean. These aren't just accidents. There's something deeply strange at work, and these clues aren't random. They show up in case after case, park after park. This isn't a conspiracy theory from the internet. This pattern was first noticed by David Pauly, a former police officer turned investigator. He created the Missing 411 Project, documenting hundreds of cases of unexplained disappearances in national parks. His books and documentaries have brought global attention to this terrifying mystery. Isn't saying aliens did it. He's not blaming ghosts. He's just asking questions that no one in authority wants to answer. Why won't the National Park Service share the data? Why were military teams brought into some searches? Why are the patterns so eerily consistent? And perhaps, most haunting of all, why do some people go missing and then return days later, unable to explain what happened? So what's really happening? Here are the leading theories. 1. Wildlife or accidents, the official stance. People fall, get lost, attacked by bears, or swept away by rivers. Yes, that happens, but it doesn't explain the folded clothes, the lack of remains, or the kids found in impossible locations. 2. Human trafficking or criminal activity. Some suggest criminal groups may be using national parks to hide their operations. Remote locations, no cameras, no cell signal. It's plausible, but again, why no evidence left behind? 3. Secret government experiments. This one sounds like sci-fi, but there have been rumors of deep underground facilities, military testing zones, and even MK-Ultra style mind control projects in wilderness areas. Could some people be accidentally encountering something forbidden? 4. Time slips or dimensional rifts. Some claim that certain areas in national parks are window zones, places where reality bends. People may literally slip out of time or fall into alternate dimensions. It sounds ridiculous until you hear the cases of people who vanish and reappear with no memory, or in places miles away in hours they couldn't have walked. 5. Cryptids and supernatural entities. From Bigfoot to stories of strange creatures in the woods are centuries old. Some native legends describe beings that lure travelers into the forest, never to return. Are these just stories or warnings? One more case. In 1981, Stacia Ross, 14, was horseback riding with a group in Yosemite National Park. She stopped to take photos near a ridge. Then she walked a few feet away. Gone. The group was close by. She couldn't have fallen. There were no cliffs, no fast rivers. Searchers found nothing except her camera lens far from where she disappeared. No signs of animal attack, no scream, no struggle, and no answers. To this day, her disappearance remains one of Yosemite's most baffling mysteries. Hundreds of families, hundreds of names, and one silent forest after another. We love to think of national parks as safe havens, places of peace, nature, beauty. But for some, they've become something else. Graveyards without graves. So what's the truth? Are these just tragedies of nature? Or is something more sinister hiding in the woods? We may never know. But one thing is certain, when you walk into the wilderness, you're not always alone. If you found this story strange, chilling, or thought-provoking, smash that like button, share it with a friend who hikes, and subscribe to Strange Teller for more true, unbelievable, and unsettling stories.